All right, everybody, every Friday, love being able to bring you my Friday review. This is my favorite research that I think obviously our community wants to know about, favorite products that I've been using, favorite books that I've been reading. And I always want it to be organic. I want it to be things that the community sends to me that I'm able to review, items that I find on my own. And that's what this Friday is going to be as well. So I read a bunch of books. It was a holiday weekend. I got to read a little bit. I had friends up. I had family up. I still found some quiet morning time to be able to read. And of course, each day trying to go through my favorite books as well. This week, though, what I wanted to share with you is, since there wasn't a standout book, I want to bring you some of the research that I was reading that honestly you should know about. If you're dealing with inflammation, joint pain, you want to recover faster from workouts, you might have autoimmune issues, this is an ingredient that is really a standout. It's been a star in Ayurvedic medicine for quite some time. And so today's show, a lot about that specific herb. It's easy to find, it's easy to get, and I want to make sure that you know about it. Before we do, I always like to be able to go over our reviews for the week. So if you missed any of this week's Cabral Concepts, on Monday we went over, if you're having trouble hitting your goals, what I want you to do is stop thinking, instead of just constantly setting goals, not achieving them, getting down on yourself. Do something different this time. And it's a total shift in what you focus on. I'm telling you, check out episode 3447 to bring new life into your days, to stop focusing on not being able to necessarily achieve all your goals. They seem so far away, and what to do instead. You'll be much happier for it. All right, Tuesday's show is the 8 risk factors for high blood pressure that have been identified. That means even if you have high blood pressure, and it's like 1 out of 8, 1 out of 10 people maximum. So even if you get high blood pressure, other numbers you can focus on, that if you focus on those, the likelihood of dying from high blood pressure, stroke, or any of the mortality risks affected by high blood pressure go down dramatically, like by half. So definitely check out that show or send it to someone that needs it. On Wednesday, we went over heart rate exercise zones that have been simplified. So essentially what I did was I talked on that show about what are heart rate zones in the first place. As we get older, specifically a 30 to 60 year range, meaning like 30 years old to 60 years, just focus on these 2 simple ranges out of all 5. And then I even broke it down easier to just fall within 20 points of your heart rate. So check that out. And of course, I gave you, if you're over 65, 70, what to look at for your heart rate, and also how to keep that simplified. I just don't think that most people need to wildly calculate all the different zones and then follow it to such a degree that it matters. Like, again, if you're setting up yourself for a race or a sprint triathlon or some type of sporting event, I totally get it. But for most people, focus on 2 zones. I share those zones and where to find your heart rate at. All right, yesterday was beyond the basics of cholesterol. So yes, it's nice to know total cholesterol, LDL, HDL, and triglycerides, but there's so much more than that. And why this is important is because if you're higher LDL, higher cholesterol, like more than half of the people in a Western-based civilization, does it matter? Should you be worried about it? Or should you focus on the type of cholesterol particles and number? Instead, I go through all that on yesterday's show. All these shows can be found at stephencabral.com/podcasts. All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to jump our product review for the week. Typically, I'm doing a product review, I'm doing a book review first, then I get into the research. I want to share with you a little bit of why I'm doing this, going research first, and it's because a new research study that I read about, that I looked into, and that I also wanted to understand better, well, how much do you need in terms of milligrams, dosage-wise, to get these great effects? And I give you all that here today. So let's get into it. So Boswellia supplementation benefits muscle soreness. So I'll give you the exact study. This was, let's see, 10 days of supplementation with a standardized Boswellia Serrata extract alleviates soreness and accelerates recovery after, let's see what that says, repeated bouts of running, basically, in active men. Okay, downhill running too, so it really beats up the quadriceps and muscles. So one of the hardest things that you can do is basically sprints, and believe it or not, you would think that uphill sprints would be harder for the body, and maybe it is in terms of heart rate, but deceleration going down a hill is actually much more strenuous. So they were looking at the breakdown of muscle tissue and what attenuates or gets rid of that soreness faster. And this is worth it because this could be applied to weight training or any other exercise as you get older. Okay, so this looks at, let me just read it to you. This is a great write-up from, let's see, it was The write-up was from Mara Donovan, and this was part of a Thorn newsletter. So it said beginners and seasoned professionals alike, delayed onset muscle soreness, which is called DOMS, can seriously impact training schedules and athletic goals. Plus, painful sore muscles for an extended period of time after exercise can impact the ability to continue training, either recreationally or competitively, or can even impact the ability to perform activities like daily living. Boswellia serrata has been used in traditional medicine for years as a pain reliever and anti-inflammatory agent. Unlike botanical extracts like tart cherry and curcumin, Boswellia is not rich in polyphenolic compounds, but rather its active ingredients are boswellic acids. Okay, let's go in. Let's see. In a randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled study, 50 men ages 25 to 40 received 60 milligrams of a standardized Boswellia serrata extract or placebo for 10 days. On day 7 of the study, participants performed running 3 15-minute segments on a 10% downhill grade treadmill at 80% of the maximum heart rate. That's legitimate. 10% downhill is a serious downhill grade. Okay, so then they looked at the inflammatory tissue markers of interleukin-6, high-sensitivity CRP, high-sensitivity C-reactive protein, and a urinary cross-linked C, a telopeptide, or type 2 collagen. All right, so they looked at it 6 times throughout the study, and it was only over 10 days. But also, what I want to share with you, just as an aside, that's a very low dosage of Boswellia. So I'll go over the dosages in just a minute in our product review, but that's a low dosage. And so even after just 10 days, 7 days before and 3 days after intense exercise, there were large decreases in overall soreness and improved overall recovery. And again, keep in mind, this was a placebo-controlled study. So the participants and the researchers did not know who was getting what. Compared to the placebo, participants supplementing with Boswellia experienced a 20 to 22% reduction in CRP and a 27% reduction in interleukin-6. I mean, to me, this is remarkable. Maybe they don't seem like huge numbers to you, but if you can decrease the inflammation in your body, as measured by CRP, by about 20, 22%, and interleukin-6, an inflammatory marker, by over a quarter, like 27%, that's remarkable, especially with only 60 milligrams, which is a small dosage. So I was very impressed by this study. And for everybody who's maybe getting a little bit older or they're training hard and their body feels tired after exercise, exhausted, sore, inflamed the next day, this is a product that could greatly benefit for you. And this, again, is an Ayurvedic herb used for well over 6,000 years of documented research, also used in traditional Chinese medicine. And I want to share with you the actual dosages that we use in clinical practice. So let's start bottoms up. So the first one, and it's not my favorite, but I'm going to kind of go least favorite to favorite. The first one is Bos Pure. So it's a proprietary extract of Boswellia. Not as many clinical studies on it, but it's a good balance. You do need a little bit higher in terms of dosage, but 150 to 400 milligrams. But again, not my favorite. Okay, now let's go over to the ones that they use in the study. So this is a standardized Boswellia Serrata extract. 65% is what you're looking for in terms of boswellic acids. So on the back of a label, it will actually show you, okay, this is Boswellia, or let me give you the other name for it, because some people refer to it as Indian frankincense. Okay, so now we have Indian frankincense or Boswellia, same thing. Now under that, there's usually parentheses beside it, and it should say standardized to 65% boswellic acids. Let's say it was only 35%. It's not as potent, okay? So you want it to be a greater percentage of boswellic acids, because that's what's giving you the anti-inflammatory benefit. Okay, so it is not as great as the extracts that I'm going to share with you in just a moment, and that's why you need a higher dosage. So you need 300 to 500 milligrams taken 2 to 3 times a day. So that's 900 to 1,500 milligrams per day. But you will get great clinical benefit from that. It takes it a little bit longer to get into the system, meaning like look at days and weeks. So after like 3 to 4 weeks, you'll probably feel more effect than you will within just the few days. And this is why, again, when I'm looking at the study and I'm saying 60 milligrams, this is a small dosage. Unless they were using some specific extract that they're not sharing right now, this is very great research, especially it's only been 10 days. So But again, it's always been a favorite of ours for autoimmune issues like rheumatoid arthritis, joint pain, osteoporosis, any type of fatigue from exercise. All right, so the next two are absolutely the best. One is called 5-Loxin, L-O-X-I-N. It is a branded ingredient, and it is a standardized Boswellia extract as well. 100 to 250 milligrams per day, used for osteoarthritis, pain, and inflammation. There have been many studies, many at 90-day length, that showed great improvement as well as in cartilage-based improvement. So that's another favorite, 5-Loxin. And my favorite out of all of them is called Apre Flex. All right. It's called, or Alapin would be the, I think, branded ingredient as well. So Apre Flex is my favorite. Here's why. It has a 52% better absorption rate than the standardized Boswellia. So when you look at that, you say, okay, wow, that makes a huge difference, right? What's it do? It inhibits a lot of inflammatory cytokines in the body. And you only need to take 100 milligrams once to twice maximum per day. 100 milligrams per day showed significant reduction in joint pain, stiffness, and improved function within 5 to 7 days. So this is a product, again, they didn't mention that they used it in this particular study, but I feel like maybe they did because it's the only one that gives you fast relief within a week. So this was also done on double-blind, placebo-controlled studies, especially with people with arthritis. So 100 milligrams once daily. That's all that you need for the Apre Flex. That's the one that we use in our practice, and without a doubt, that's the one we've seen the best clinical results with. So whether you're taking like a glucosamine, chondroitin sulfate with MSM, even if you're taking that maybe for osteoarthritis or joint pain issues, without a doubt, I would be adding the Apre Flex. The product we use is called Inflamma Soothe. It's INFLAMMA Soothe. So basically inflammation soothe, but again, we can't provide any medical advice, medical cures, medical diagnosis, but that's what it does. So it is 100 milligrams of Apre Flex. It also includes ginger and turmeric, which are great anti-inflammatories. And let's see what else the entire label has. Holy basil, which is tulsi in Ayurvedic medicine, green tea extract with EGCG, but it is caffeine free. And then a couple of very powerful ingredients as well, like rutin and trypsin, so a great enzyme to help break up inflammation. And then purple sweet potato extract for all of those polyphenols. So that's the one we use, Inflamma Soothe. I can't link up to it, but you can always find it at stevencabral.com/shop, and then just type in Inflamma Soothe and you'll be able to find it. That's 3 capsules per day. Very simple, very straightforward way to take it. I just take 3 at lunch. That's a product that I love using, and that helps with any resistance to exercise, meaning like not being able to do it, but being able to recover from it, especially as you get older. Also just great overall for inflammation and inflammaging as well. All right, so let's go over our last study of the day. And happy to link up what I can link up at stevencabral.com/3451. That's today's show, but I can never link up nutritional supplements. FDA, FTC does not allow that. Oh, this is another one of my favorites. I forgot that I put this together for you. A recent study tested 282 beverages and found that hibiscus tea had the highest antioxidant content among beverages tested, ranking even higher than green tea and matcha. Antioxidants are crucial for maintaining overall health by protecting cells from damage caused by free radicals. Free radicals are unstable molecules, and oxidative stress occurs when the production of free radicals in the body exceeds the ability of antioxidants to neutralize them, leading to damage to cellular components, which leads then to aging. By neutralizing free radicals, antioxidants help to prevent damage, reduce inflammation, and lower the risk of conditions like heart disease, cancer, and age-related illnesses. Okay, so I saw this exact quote and study on Instagram, and I said, great. I'd like to learn more about this because I love hibiscus tea, but I'm not the biggest fan of green tea. Although I will say, and I always have said, that matcha green tea is the king and queen of all teas. It has the most research really on it, meaning in terms of efficacy, like it actually does something, helps with everything from potentially cancer to heart disease to blood sugar, to fat oxidation, burning body fat. It's amazing, right? But I'm just not a fan of it, right? I could consume it if I wanted to, but I always say there are other ways around it if you'd like to consume other products to get all the healthy benefits. Okay, so here's what I wanted to share with you. I went to the study that they quoted because they left a PubMed study, and you know what? It says absolutely nothing about 282 beverages being tested in that study and finding that hibiscus was the highest. So I said, okay, well, this is what I'm here for. I try to be an unbiased individual that shares with people the real truth. So I went to that study, and the study did say that it helps with cardiovascular disease, blood pressure, and so much more. So it was essentially saying the polyphenols in hibiscus are so amazing. There are so many antioxidants that it does help with the vessels in the body. It helps with the arteries. It helps with the heart. So it is a great thing. So then I said, okay, let's see if I can find other research stating that it is higher in antioxidants than green tea and even matcha green tea, which of course I found a little hard to believe since matcha green tea has all of these great attributes, and so does regular green tea, brewed green tea. Okay, matcha green tea, by the way, is taking the whole leaves and then grinding it down to a powder and consuming the whole thing. So you're consuming the leaves. Where brewed green tea, like most teas, is what? Well, it's steeping them in hot water, but then you get rid of the leaves, right? The tea leaves. Okay, so here's what I did find. I found a massive study on all sorts of beverages, and I'll get you the exact quote. I'm going to do a whole show on it next week because it's actually really fascinating. And it went through all of their antioxidants. And you know what? Hibiscus was higher in brewed green tea. So that was pretty amazing. So even though this Instagram post was all over the map and they weren't quoting the proper research, hibiscus tea is actually higher than brewed green tea. Now, in the study, they did not test it against matcha green tea for whatever reason. They tested all sorts of fruit juices and great things, but they did not test it against matcha green tea. Until I see otherwise, we'll say matcha is still the top, but hibiscus was number 3 on the list, not number 1. So they were number 3. Again, I don't know the list they were looking at, but they were number 3. I'm going to go through the top 10 next week, so definitely stay tuned for that. But what I can tell you is this. Hibiscus tea really is so great for the kidneys. It's great for the skin. It is good for the digestive system. It's very high in antioxidants. A great one to consume with literally no caffeine, unlike a green tea or a matcha. So I'm not trying to talk down about green tea. I still think it's probably the best to consume 2 to 3 cups of that before 1 or 2 p.m. I prefer coffee, so I like coffee. I don't drink a lot of it. I do a half regular, half decaf. And if I do one after lunch, it's always decaf. And of course, it's Swiss water processed. But I still want more great antioxidants in my diet, besides the wild blueberries that I eat and the great fruits and veggies. So one thing that I am going to try, and I'll let you know how it goes, is adding in some hibiscus tea into my daily routine. The problem is you have to watch for all the microplastics with tea bags. So I'll actually be using hibiscus powder, and based on the taste, based on how I feel, I'll make that recommendation to you as well. All right, so that is it for the day. I will link up the research at stephencabral.com/3451. And to check out Boswellia, of course, I gave you all the different studies, all the different types to use. You can just type that right into Google. You can do your shopping there, or you can check out the Apres Flex as part of the Inflammasoothe, which is a synergist of anti-inflammatories at stephencabral.com/shop. That's it for today. I'll be back tomorrow with our Cabral House Calls. Take care, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.